Welcome in to Friday edition, Bruce Hooley Show. I thought it would be an effective strategy for Donald Trump in the upcoming presidential debate for him to mention specific cases involving people murdered by illegal aliens as the best way to demonstrate Joe Biden's ineffectiveness on the border and the peril in which he is placing American citizens. But I don't think anybody can be expected to remember as many names as Donald Trump would have to remember if he were going to do what I suggest, because I'm looking at a tweet right now, which is a collection of photos of people who were murdered by illegal aliens, police officers, truck drivers, teenagers, moms, grandmoms, kids, black inner city youth, and I count 75 people. Now, Trump is sharp, but I couldn't remember the names of 75 people. The latest name is 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungare. She is yet another person who would be alive if Joe Biden did what he claims to, I guess, now be doing, which is securing the southern border, although he's maintained throughout his presidency that the border is secure. Jocelyn Nungare was raped and strangled and dumped in a creek in Houston, Texas by 26-year-old Franklin Jose Peña Ramos and 21-year-old Johan Jose Rangel Martinez. Fantastic. Both of them entered the country illegally. Both of them, maybe Biden's right, were detained when they tried to enter, and they were released. This is not an uncommon story. The illegal alien who murdered Rachel Morin, the mother of 5 in Maryland, 37 years old, we now know tried to enter the country on January the 19th in New Mexico. But they caught him and they expelled him because he was dangerous, because he was wanted for a murder in Ecuador. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not Ecuador. I have the guy who murdered Rachel Morin, I have confused with the machete-wielding guy in New York who raped I'm losing track, 13-year-old girl. That's right. I apologize to the murderer of Rachel Morin, because I wouldn't want to get your country of origin wrong, because of course that would be something on my part. My Christian nationalism would be coming out, I guess. So the same guy then entered the country on January the 31st. Notice a pattern? Less than 2 weeks later. I'll try again. They're not going to get me this time. Oh, wait, they did get you. Maybe they're really good. He tried in El Paso the second time. They caught him. He was expelled. A week later, he tried in New Mexico again. You'd think he'd learned his lesson, right? No. He was caught and expelled. A week later, he tried in El Paso again. He's a persistent little monster. And he was able to elude Border Patrol. He's one of the gotaways. One of the gotaways. Would you like to know the numbers on the non-detained illegal migrants during Joe Biden's 4-year run of terror in the White House? In 2021, 3.7 million people crossed the border under Joe Biden and were not detained. Hey, let's call back home and tell people, border's open. Biden wasn't kidding when he said in the debates, surge to the border. So in 2022, we went up from 3.7 million to 4.8 million. And that gives us what? 1.1 more people, 1.1 million more people to call back home and say, come on in. And they did. 6.2 million in 2023, an increase of 1.4 million over the previous year, an increase of 2.5 million over the first year Biden's in office. And we're not done with fiscal year 2024 yet. And we've already had more illegal migrants come across the border in 2024, 7.4 million this fiscal year. And we got the horror stories to tell about it, including Jocelyn Nungary in Houston, Texas. Here's Mike Tobin of Fox telling us about how Jocelyn Nungary was murdered.
The last time Jocelyn Nungary's mom saw her, she was going to bed last Sunday night, but Jocelyn snuck out of the room. It's not clear how she made contact with the suspects, but they were captured by surveillance cameras right up to the last moments of Jocelyn's life. They walked to a bridge where police say the 12-year-old was murdered, jumped in a bayou. Her body later found in a creek. The medical examiner says the cause of death was strangulation, and the suspects were picked up by police early Thursday. DHS sources tell Fox News 26-year-old Jose Pena Ramos crossed into El Paso last May. He was caught by Border Patrol and released with a notice to appear at a later date. 21-year-old Johan Jose Rangel Martinez crossed into El Paso in March. He was also picked up by Border Patrol. The status of his release into the U.S. is not clear. Because of Jocelyn's young age, Houston authorities say the capital murder charge applies, and that makes the death penalty possible.
Well, goody good. We get to keep them on death row for 20 years and feed them and house them and clothe them because, I mean, to put them to death for what they did to a 12-year-old girl in Houston, Texas, that would be discriminatory toward migrants. Not caring, not feeling, not compassionate enough, I am quite sure. Because you see this on display all the time, right? Poor Ramos and poor Martinez. They have the mayor of Houston taking note of their case, and it does not appear that the mayor of Houston went to the Franklin County Common Pleas Court Judge Michael Holbrook School of Compassion for Criminals. Well, I don't know about that, Mayor. Maybe in Texas. But here in Ohio, we turn criminals loose all the time because, I mean, if we put them in jail, they might learn how to beat criminals, right? Is that the logic, right? That's the logic of the Franklin County Juvenile Court judges. It's the logic, I guess, of Michael Holbrook, the Franklin County Common Pleas Court judge who turned Devon Blair, 23 years old, loose on the streets of Columbus in mid-May after he had held a knife to the throat of, dragged by the hair, his now deceased pregnant girlfriend, Brooke DeVinny. And this story, have you noticed? This is one of those heinous stories that would claim national headlines. You'd think among domestic violence counseling centers and the like. Here's Exhibit A of what can happen if we don't give stiff penalties to domestic abusers. I've been watching the news coverage locally, and boy, it's awfully quiet. I can't even get a domestic abuse person who works at a shelter to come on the air and talk about this kind of stuff. There was one victim of domestic abuse here in Columbus who spoke to WSYX6, and kudos to Channel 6 on this. They were the only ones who covered the vigil for Brooke DeVinny the other day. They're the only ones continuing to write about this situation. And if you say, well, I mean, this is an outlier, Bruce, on how often does this happen? Well, according to WSYX6, we've had 50 murders in Columbus this year. 6 of them are domestic violence related. 6 of them, 6 of the 50. I think that's a pretty high number. I have never forgotten and never will forget because it was senseless and preventable for many, many, many reasons. That horrific summer day a few years back when Westerville police officers Anthony Morelli and Eric Juring lost their lives. Were they domestic abusers? No, the guy who was waiting on the other side of the door that they knocked on a Saturday morning was. And he was out even though he had committed a long list of criminal acts that should have had him behind bars. But Officer Juring and Morelli were unfortunately the victims of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And as soon as they opened the door, the domestic abuser ran to the couch to retrieve a gun from under a cushion. And this tells you about the mindset of police officers in Central Ohio and elsewhere, is that they didn't fire at him. They had to wait because they knew they'd be called on the carpet for the wrong motivation for discharging their weapon. They had to wait until he shot Joring in the head, and then Morelli wrestled him to the ground, and this guy shot Morelli in an area where his body was not covered by a vest. That's a domestic violence death too.
A heat advisory in effect through Saturday evening. Partly sunny, hot, and humid this afternoon. High today, 95. Clear, warm, and humid tonight. Low down to 73. Partly sunny, hot, and humid again tomorrow. The high at 95. Clouds and breezy, humid, not as hot. A thunderstorm in spots on Sunday. High Sunday at 86. Mostly sunny and a bit less humid on Monday. High Monday afternoon again at 86. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM. The Answer.
Hey, Health Warriors, Dr. Brandon Schreiner here with Revive Your Health Radio on 98.9 FM, The Answer, where every week you're going to get world-class lifestyle education from myself and other healthcare practitioners. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, be sure to tune in to Revive Your Health Radio every week on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Revive Your Health Radio with Dr. Brandon Schreiner, Saturday afternoon from 1 to 2 and Sunday morning from 9 to 10 on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I haven't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. 800-965-1433. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey everyone, do I have a great movie suggestion for you, full of bravery, patriotism, and hope? It's the new Kevin Costner film, Horizon, an American Saga. The epic tale of how the West was won. Horizon dives right into the heart of our nation, when thousands of courageous men and women sacrificed everything, crossing the country in covered wagons in pursuit of the American dream. It's a timeless film about freedom, family, and our quintessential pioneer spirit. Starring Kevin Costner, Sienna Miller, and an outstanding cast, it's the story of how America became the country we love. Don't miss Horizon, an American Saga. See Chapter 1 in theaters June 28th and Chapter 2 in theaters August 16th. Perfect for the 4th of July. Make it part of your celebration of our great nation. Horizon, an American Saga, coming to theaters June 28th. Join the Frontier Pass at Fandango.com to get your tickets. Fandango.com. Again, it is Horizon, an American Saga, starring Kevin Costner. Get your tickets right now.
Is your money safe? Are you reading about the push for the digital dollar that could allow the government to tell us what we can and cannot buy with our own money? Look, with all the things we've learned about what the feds are up to, that's not a shock, right? I'm encouraging you to get The Secret War on Cash. The Secret War on Cash is a compelling, insightful report created by my friends at Swiss America. It's available now, free of charge. You're going to learn how to protect yourself from these threats to our freedom and to our hard-earned money. Call Swiss America now, or you can text it as well, 800-289-2646. 800-289-2646, or just go to SwissAmerica.com/Gallagher and get this free report. I was shocked at what the banks are required to do for the government. You will be too. You got to learn how to protect your money. Swiss America's free report, The Secret War on Cash. It's as easy as a phone call or a text to 800-289-2646, 800-289-2646, or go to SwissAmerica.com/Gallagher.
Had a nice conversation last night with a gentleman who's interested in buying American-made products that are good for him, his family, the environment, and taking a bite out of woke capitalism. We were talking about patriotswitch.com products, a little different. You have to give up your trip to Walmart, Target, Kroger. Why would you go if you can have mouthwash, toothpaste, laundry detergent, cleaning products, nutritional supplements? I don't have time to list all 450 products, but what you need to know is Patriot Switch products, the manufacturer and the store are the same exact person, the same exact company, family owned, out west, where the water is pure and the air is clean and the products are fantastic and comparably priced, because you won't find Patriot Switch products in stores. The only way you'll hear about them is just like this, me talking to you, you talking to your neighbor. You don't have to sell them to your neighbor. You just have to buy them for yourself. It's a great, great company and a great, great way to treat your family to better products, shampoo and other things that you buy every day. Just buy them from a different vendor, a better vendor. Give me your information and I'll tell you more about it. patriotswitch.com/Bruce, patriotswitch.com/Bruce. So here is the mother of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungery in Houston, Texas. She was taken by illegal migrants, 26 years old and 21 years old, strangled, raped, murdered, dumped in a creek. Here is her mother talking to a Houston television station.
Hearing that the gentlemen that were in these surveillance videos, that they have been found and they've been caught and they've been taken in for questioning, it was like it was the greatest news.
Okay, so they're definitely not gentlemen. She's being very kind. But this is how Trump answers the January 6th question at the debate when it comes up next week. Yeah, you want to talk about me being a threat to democracy, Joe. You want to talk about the people who rallied and violated what I told them, which was to peacefully and patriotically protest. They didn't do what I told them to do, and you have used it or attempted to use it as a cudgel against me for the last 4 years. But you are the threat to American way of life with your complete and utter failure on the border. Because Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, and Jocelyn Nungery would be alive, and many others would be alive. Children who have been raped, traumatized, would not have to overcome these memories if not for your abysmal border policy. You said it in our debate in 2020 that you encourage migrants to surge to the border. We have seen migrants interviewed at the border where they've said they're coming because of you. And so you can prattle on and on and on and on about the fact that I'm a threat to democracy and a fascist, but I left office and you're in office and not a single shot was fired other than by one of your Capitol police officers who unjustifiably killed Ashley Babbitt in the U.S. Capitol. But Americans are dying because of your border policy, and if you are left unchecked and reelected as president, it will only get worse. That's the answer from Donald Trump. That's like a minute answer, and everybody in America knows it is true. Among those is Texas Congressman Wesley Hunt. I leave Wesley Hunt off my list of superstar Republicans that we are going to see ascend politically in the future, because it's a funny thing about people that speak with passion, speak with eloquence, and speak the truth. They tend to captivate people. They have charisma, they have star power, and Wesley Hunt is definitely one of those, and he does not mince words about who's responsible for the death of 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungery, or is at least an accessory to her murder.
There's blood on Joe Biden's hands because via executive fiat, he destroyed our southern border. During President Trump, we had the safest southern border that we have seen in modern history. We had strength on our border. It was not run by the cartels. We didn't have these animals entering our country. And President Trump said this 9 years ago, that they are not going to sit in their best and brightest here if we have an open border. And now American children are dying.
Trump was vilified for that, of course. Oh, what do you mean they're emptying their prisons and their insane asylums? This is just a continuation and escalation of a phenomenon that has been in place ever since Barack Obama sent the signal that, you know, if you're in the U.S., if you're a child of an illegal immigrant, you were born here, like, I'm going to violate the Constitution. And by the way, in the last two court cases, the deferred action for child, whatever it is, DACA, childhood arrivals, has been found unconstitutional. But here's the deal. We just this week found out, while they're celebrating a dozen years of DACA and what a great program it is by Obama, that nearly 80,000 of the supposed innocent children who just happened to be born here because, oh, their parents came here illegally from other countries and we got to show compassion and we got to let them be here. 80,000 of them were between the ages of 19 and 22 when they were arrested for committing criminal acts in our country. 80,000. And here's the false narrative that we're given all the time by Democrats, which is, well, you know, migrants, they really help the economy, and we'd be lost without them and all that. So you can't like outlaw them all. That is such a lie, not because we want to outlaw them all, but because we have a legal immigration system and we see evidence of the benefits of legal immigration all the time. Bernie Moreno is a legal U.S. citizen who came here from Colombia as a child, became an American citizen. And these are among the best of our citizens because they have endeavored to become American citizens by learning our Constitution, by assimilating into our culture, by working hard, by taking advantage of the things that America makes available to people who come. But we have come to the point where we no longer demand, expect, encourage people who come into our country to assimilate and become part of us. No, we are supposed to suspend who we are to accommodate who they are. And I haven't even gotten into the danger posed by the drug cartels paying these people to come across the border, and then we don't detain them, or we give them an appearance ticket for years in advance and we don't police it. If we cannot, what are we like, 23 years from 9/11, and we have just given up on vetting people who come into our country. Like, weren't we all outraged? The probably last time we were united as a country was on September the 12th, 2001. Because we were all like, how did this happen? And what else? We got to keep this from happening. And so we have to institute systems and protocols and procedures to make sure we know who people are, so they can't just come over here, hang out, go to flight school, and then learn to hijack planes, fly them into buildings, and kill 3,000 Americans. How did we get from there to here? We would not have gotten from there to here unless the Democratic Party had radically shifted its approach to immigration and to vetting people who come into our country. And why did they do that? Because they see illegal immigration as a way to forever ensconce themselves in the highest annals of power in our country. And you know it's true because they deny it with every breath out of their lying mouth.
With SRN News, I'm Greg Clugston in Washington. The Supreme Court has upheld a federal gun control law. The justices ruled 8-1 in favor of a 1994 ban that's intended to protect domestic violence victims. It's a reversal of a federal appeals court ruling which struck down the law. Under the law, people under restraining orders to stay away from their spouses or partners are not allowed to own firearms. Justice Clarence Thomas was the lone dissenter in the case. Prosecutors are urging the judge overseeing Donald Trump's criminal trial in New York to uphold a gag order that bars the Republican former president from criticizing jurors, court staff, or members of the prosecution that convicted him. The heat wave may be peaking for some states, but the National Weather Service says the weather will likely get hotter this weekend in the Mid-Atlantic region. This is SRN News.
Government debt is now exploding by an unprecedented $1 trillion every 90 days. Think of that. It's a clear sign that our nation's finances are spinning out of control, and it's putting the savings of every one of you at risk. Hello, I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst and best-selling author and an evangelical leader. I'm deeply concerned about the impact this runaway debt is going to have on Christians like you who have worked hard to build your own nest egg for your family. To protect your financial future in these uncertain times, you need to diversify with something tangible and proven, like physical gold. That's why I recommend a gold IRA. To learn more, text FAITH to the number 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will rush you a free info kit on how to move your IRA or 401k to physical precious metals, tax and penalty-free. So don't wait. Just text the word FAITH to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold Group is the only company I trust. There's no obligation. So text FAITH to 989898, and I pray this information helps you achieve
news, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 989theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers, tune in, or iHeart.
Hi, it's Bruce Hooley, and I'm inviting you to watch the presidential debate with me on Thursday, June the 27th at Dave & Buster's in Hilliard. We'll have the debate showing on a movie screen. Food and drinks will be available from your seat right off the menu, and a bit of commentary before and during the debate. All ages are welcome, but tickets are limited to Presidential Debate Watch Party Thursday, June 27th at Dave & Buster's in Hilliard. Tickets are just $10 and available right now at 989theanswer.com.
War has played a key role in the history of the United States, from the nation's founding right down to the present. Wars made the United States independent, kept it together, increased its size, and established it as a global superpower. Hi, I'm James Early, host of the Key Battles of American History podcast. In each episode, I discuss American history through the lens of the most important battles of America's wars. To start listening now, go to parthenonpodcast.com or search Key Battles of American History on your favorite podcasting platform.
The Tilton family at Tilton's Automotive Service has been serving our community with state-of-the-art equipment for nearly 35 years. From oil changes to detailing to complete engine replacement, we're here to serve you to the highest levels and make you part of the family. All our repairs are backed by a 36-month, 36,000-mile warranty. Check out our mobile app for discounts and specials. Tilton's Automotive Service, in the shadow of Anheuser-Busch in Columbus and just off Creekside in Gahanna. For more info, check out tiltonsauto.com. Take it to Tilton's.
We are strong and we'll get through this together, but these are stressful times. Reach out to someone, connect with your friends, and know that you are not alone. Visit wearebroadcasters.com/hope, furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
I had a wonderful afternoon yesterday. I got to know 3 new friends, Robin and Andrea and Steve. And how did I get to know them? Well, I got to know them because they responded to my inquiry or my availability to help them equip their homes with beautiful new flooring. You can do the same. Go to brucehooley.com, click on the flooring tab in the upper right-hand corner. I will come, we will chat, I will measure your space, I will show you how we can help your home gain an updated look, and we can also save you money because we do not have, at the flooring store where I work, the expensive overhead that a lot of other stores have. brucehooley.com, flooring tab, upper right-hand corner. These are luxury homes, beautiful homes. One over in the Galena area, one in Lewis Center. We go all over Central Ohio to do for you what big box stores will not do, which is pay personal attention and take care of you. So go to brucehooley.com, click the flooring tab in the upper right-hand corner. brucehooley.com, flooring tab, upper right-hand corner. So I'm not the only one asking the question about how did we get from 9/11/01, where we were determined to keep threats to the United States of America out of America. But now we just throw open the border. And what was the number that I gave you? 7.4 million non-detained illegal migrants this fiscal year, which is not over yet. And when I total up the numbers from the other years of Joe Biden, 3.7 million in 2021, 4.8 million in 2022, 6.2 million in 2023. That's 714. That's over 21, almost 22 million people. They always say, well, he's let 12 million people into the country. That number is laughable. It is laughable because we see it all the time, right? And we got and that doesn't even include the gotaways. Doesn't even include the gotaways. Of course, bad things are going to happen when you have this kind of border policy. It is not a surprise that a mother of 5 in Maryland is raped and murdered. It is not a surprise that a 21-year-old co-ed in Georgia is raped and murdered. It is not a surprise that a 12-year-old now in Houston, Texas, Jocelyn Nungary, is raped and murdered. It's not a surprise a 13-year-old in Manhattan is held at the point of a machete and raped while tied to another boy by her shoelaces. Wesley Hunt, Congressman, Texas, former U.S. military veteran, he feels this incompetence on a completely different level than you or I can, unless we have served the way Wesley Hunt has served.
I'm a combat veteran. I fought for people like this to not enter this country after 9/11. And we have a wide open border, and now everyone is suffering. And I find it very interesting to see these blue states and these blue governors now realizing that every single state is now a border state. Well, guess what? Here in Texas, we have been dealing with this for the last 4 years. We tried to close our border. Greg Abbott, a couple of months ago, our governor, tried to close our border. And what do we get for it? We got sued for it. We got sued for the state doing the job of the federal government. And so now the American people are watching this and we're like, we don't believe you anymore, because 4 years ago, we didn't have this problem. Now we do. And now that we're entering the election season, a few months away from the presidential election, now all of a sudden Democrats want to get tough on crime and get tough on the border. No one believes you. We want the policies of President Trump that we had 4 years ago, and we have got to implement this as soon as possible. November is coming. It's very important. This is a matter of national security and a matter of national safety. Americans have got to wake up. We cannot have 4 more years of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, because the border crisis that we see right now will only persist and continue to get worse if we reelect them.
Now, I mentioned before I started this segment that I met 3 really nice people yesterday, flooring customers of mine. And all 3 of them are Christian people, people who view life through the same prism that I do. And they view immigration through the same prism that I do. There's a column in the Columbus Dispatch this morning that I want to bring up because I want to help people who see the authority in their life to what the scriptures say, not to what they feel, not certainly to what media and academia and the entertainment industry tell you to feel or tell you to think, but actually want to submit themselves to God's authority on these matters, because you are going to be told, and you are told in this editorial, although it's not as wigged out as the one the other day from Narissa Young, the nut job OU journalism professor. You are going to be told, and you are being told, that if you believe yourself a Christian, label yourself a Christian, that you are wrong and you are not in line with God's truth if you oppose the border policies that lead to the deaths of innocent American citizens. Here's the column written by Michael R. Fisher, Jr., an assistant professor in the Department of African American and African Studies at Ohio State University. And he starts off talking about, and we discussed this on the show, the big apartment complex over by the railroad on the west side, where the guy who owned the apartment complex flew a Trump flag in place of the big American flag that had been there. And he's troubled, Mr. Fisher is, by the fact that Trump, being a convicted felon, has the support of Christian nationalists. This is the term they're throwing around, right? They love to disparage you with words. And if you're a Christian nationalist, that's a terrible thing. And you're a terrible person for being a Christian nationalist, because if Jesus were still walking the earth, he would not be a Christian nationalist. Mr. Fisher writes, as a professor at Ohio State who studies and writes about race, religion, and politics in the U.S., I'm paying close attention this November to the motivations of voters and voters of faith, particularly those who qualify as Christian nationalists. Do I need a membership card? How do I qualify? Helpfully, Mr. Fisher writes that if you are a Christian nationalist, you agree with the 5 following statements. The U.S. government should declare America a Christian nation. I'm out already because I don't agree with that statement that we should declare America a Christian nation. You know why I don't agree with that? Because it's not in the Constitution. Second tenet, I'm already out. Maybe you're still in. I don't know. U.S. laws should be based on Christian values. I'm a yes there because God's laws are planted in every human heart. If you believe the scriptures, it says that, you have to believe it. You don't get to negotiate. You're not like Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden, the devout Catholics who want to dismember babies. Their Christian faith is an a la carte faith. Yeah, I think I'll take a little bit of this over here, compassion, and we'll extrapolate that to the border and let anybody in that wants to come in, and we'll give them money. And apparently they've never read the scripture. If you do not work, you do not eat. So I'm a yes on 2. Maybe I'm still in. Maybe I only need 4 or 5 to be a Christian nationalist. He writes, the third criteria is, if the U.S. moves away from its Christian foundations, we will not have a country anymore. I'm really in now because, yeah, I'm all in on that. From its Christian foundations. We are a moral, and it's a constitution for a moral and religious people. Didn't say moral and Christian people, said moral and religious people. Fourth element, he says, being Christian is an important part of being truly American. No. Being Christian is an important part of being truly American? No. You can be of another religion and be truly American, but you have to believe in American values, many of which are based on Judeo-Christian values. I'd say all of them are based on Judeo-Christian values. And the fifth criteria, God has called Christians to exercise dominion over all areas of American society. Let me see. Is that in the Great Commission? Is that in the Great Commission? God has called Christians to exercise dominion over all areas of American society. Let me see. By memory, the Great Commission is, all authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey all that I have commanded you. I don't remember. I didn't hear anything in there about exercising dominion over all areas of American society. He says, Mr. Fisher does in his editorial in the Dispatch, that 3 in 10 Americans qualify as Christian nationalists, 3 in 10 Ohioans. Well, then good, we're keeping pace. He says, looking at religion, half of Ohioans who qualify as Christian nationalists are white Protestants. I knew we'd get to the race part soon, so did you. And about 1/8 are Protestants of color. Come on, you're lagging behind. Catch up with the rest of us. The report finds that, his report that he's citing cites, Christian nationalism is positively correlated with presidential vote choice in 2020. I knew we'd get to the anti-Trump part soon, so did you. The higher one scores on a Christian nationalism scale, the more likely one voted for Trump in 2020. And then he gets to the real meat of the story. Trump doesn't uphold Christian values. Christianity emphasizes kindness, humility, and love. Trump isn't known for any of these virtues. He epitomizes the opposite. So he says Christian nationalists supporting Trump is a peculiar contradiction with the tenets of Christianity. I'd love to have Mr. Fisher on to see if he finds it peculiar that the devout Catholics, Joe Biden and others, find it no contradiction at all to murder babies in the womb, change the genitals of children, and on and on and on.
The evening, partly sunny, hot, and humid this afternoon. High today, 95. Clear, warm, and humid tonight, low down to 73. Partly sunny, hot, and humid again tomorrow, the high at 95. Clouds and breezy, humid, not as hot. A thunderstorm in spots on Sunday. High Sunday at 86. Mostly sunny and a bit less humid on Monday. High Monday afternoon again at 86. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
This is Josh Pick with Aptus Wealth Management. The U.S. and the world have certainly changed a lot in the last few years. We're facing money dangers that we haven't seen in a long time, maybe ever. Inflation continues to be a problem. Interest rate increases have made purchases like cars and homes seemingly impossible for some, and retirement looks like a scary proposition. For many, it appears to be a dire situation and has left them paralyzed and fearful. You are not helpless, and there are ways to gain back control. At Aptus, we help our clients navigate the labyrinth of retirement planning and educate them on how to make appropriate choices for their individual situation. Whether you have never met with a fiduciary investment advisor before, or you just want a second opinion, we're here to help. Call our office today at 614-917-1040 and learn how a cost-free complimentary meeting may be the key to putting your money to work and your mind at ease. Don't forget to listen to the Aptus Blueprint Radio Show Friday evenings at 6, Saturday afternoons at noon, or call our office today at 614-917-1040.
Attention business owners, medical practice owners, and taxpayers with not-so-simple tax returns. If you're not getting timely and useful financial advice throughout the year from your accountant, why not? I'm CPA Brad Hennebert from Premier Tax CPAs, and the true value of using a CPA is getting guidance throughout the year, not just at tax time. During the year, we can actively advise you on your financial, tax planning, and other major business needs, just like an outside CFO. Too often, when you see your accountant only at tax time, we're really only keeping score of what you did last year. At Premier Tax CPAs, we like to have monthly consultations with our business clients because important financial information is only useful if it's timely. See us before April 15th and get a free copy of my latest book, The Ohio Business Owner's Tax Survival Guide. At Premier Tax CPAs, we're a firm that can work with you and your business throughout the year to help you make decisions before it's too late. Give us a call at 614-524-4888. That's 614-524-4888.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So yeah, really, you can save a ton, like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE, 844-41-BIBLE.
Join me, Dennis Prager, on an unforgettable Bible cruise to the Caribbean, November 29th to December 8th. 2024. Imagine 9 days of basking in the sun, surrounded by the stunning beauty of a tropical paradise. Amid profound conversations, I'll share about the Bible and my insights into current events in a way that I believe you will really enjoy. Secure your spot on this once-in-a-lifetime adventure by calling 855-565-5519 or booking online at PragerBibleCruise.com.
Weekends usually mean a little bit more free time, and that may translate into a cookout on the back deck. Now, I'm going to have the fans blowing, or maybe the misters, which is like a fine spray of water on you if you're out there tomorrow doing it, because it's going to be hot again. But Sunday, we're supposed to get cool temperatures. So why not fire up that grill and cook a good steak? Because I don't have a good steak, Bruce. Well, that's your fault, because you haven't gone to riverbendranchsteaks.com and investigated the possibility of getting no hormones, no antibiotics, USDA choice and prime, New York strip, ribeye, filet mignon, or just plain old good all-American burgers to cook on your grill. You will pay less for this Black Angus beef raised on grasslands of an actual ranch out west than you will pay for comparable beef at the store, if you can even find it. I know where you can find it. riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. riverbendranchsteaks.com/Bruce Hooley. So I want to finish up on this editorial from Michael R. Fisher Jr. from Ohio State's Department of African American and African Studies. I'm going to invite him on the show, and I don't think he's an unreasonable man. I just think that he looks at life through a prism that many Democrats do, which, that prism is a window. It's not a mirror. Through a window, you can see out, but you can't see yourself. Through a mirror, you see yourself, but Democrats don't do that. They write things like Mr. Fisher wrote in today's Columbus Dispatch that, well, Donald Trump doesn't uphold Christian values, so if you say you're a Christian, you can't vote for Donald Trump. Okay, so if I can't vote for Donald Trump, who can I vote for? Oh, you would like for me to vote for Joe Biden because why? Because Joe Biden does uphold Christian values. I mean, I know he says he's a devout Catholic, but I find a hard time squaring his celebration of the LGBTQ movement. Is that endorsed in the scriptures? Not in my Bible. Multiple places. I said yesterday, if you want to read a 15 to 20 verse summary of how we got to this point in America, go to Romans 1, start in verse 18, and read to the end of the chapter. You can start in Romans 1, chapter 2, the first paragraph or so of that too, because the thought is continued. But you'll get a real good inkling that certainly Joe Biden is not upholding Christian values. I think one of the 10 commandments puts the kibosh on lying. Is Joe Biden a truthful man? I can't even pose the question without snickering at the absurdity of it. So, look, Mr. Fisher, I have said many times before, I don't vote for Donald Trump because Donald Trump is a Christian. I'm very bothered by the fact for his eternal future that Donald Trump says, I don't need a savior. Yeah, you do. Not picking on you. We all do. None of us is good enough. No one is good. No, not one. We all fall short of the glory of God, but thankfully Jesus paid the price for our sin, so we don't have to fall short because we can claim his righteousness as our own. But if Mr. Fisher is trying to convince me that I need to feel bad about voting for a presidential candidate who is the reason why we got Roe versus Wade overturned, if he's, Mr. Fisher, trying to convince me that it's bad to vote for a presidential candidate who won't turn the White House lawn into a stage where a man with fake breasts bears them in front of all of America, you're going to have to talk pretty fast, Mr. Fisher, because I'm not going to fall for that. And if you're going to try to convince me that Joe Biden is a compassionate man and a great father, right? We're told this all the time. Oh, he's a compassionate man and he's a great father. First of all, no great father would turn his drug-addled, derelict, crack cocaine-addicted son loose on the world to collect millions of dollars in cash to enrich the Biden family with absolutely zero credentials for the job that he has to feed his drug habit. No great father would shower with his daughter when she's a teenager, as she articulated in her own diary. No great father would disparage a truck driver involved in a car accident that killed Joe Biden's first wife. And Joe Biden has ever since insinuated or outright said that truck driver was drunk when he was not. Joe Biden is a serial liar, a serial plagiarist, a serial phony. And he employs people who are of the same ilk. Listen to this conversation between Jim Acosta of CNN and Alejandro Mayorkas involving the murder of 37-year-old mother of 5, Rachel Morin, in Maryland.
I do want to ask you about the murder of this Maryland mother that has been in the news. It's gotten a lot of attention. She was killed last year.
What's her name?
An undocumented immigrant was just arrested, and her death last week. He's suspected of multiple crimes.
Illegal
since he
alien.
crossed the border illegally in early 2023. Obviously, we know that the studies show that undocumented immigrants don't commit more crimes statistically than native-born U.S. citizens. But
So
what do you say
what?
to critics who blame the administration for allowing something like this to happen? Yeah, obviously, this is something that you hear in right-wing media all the time.
Apology issued up front. Now Mayorkas answers.
First and foremost, of course, our hearts break for the children.
No one believes
family,
that.
The loved ones, the friends of the individual who was murdered, the woman.
What's her name?
Jim, a criminal is responsible for the criminal act. The criminal who committed this heinous act should be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law, and forcefully so. That is my response.
What a despicable answer. He will not say her name. He will not take the time to learn her name. If you took the time to even learn her name and you couldn't remember it because you're on camera, it just slipped your mind, you could say, you know, my deepest sympathies go out to the family of Jim, I'm struggling to remember her name. I'm very sorry, but do you have her name? Because she deserves to have her name mentioned. No. The woman, the victim, all generalities, right? All generalities. And you're trying to tell me this is a compassionate president? This is a president who cares about people? I've asked before, who are the Christians in Joe Biden's administration? Can anybody name me one? One. No, you can't. Because there aren't any. Congressman Wesley Hunt making note of the fact that Rachel Morin's name is not worth mentioning to Joe Biden or to those who work for him.
It is actually amazing to me how they won't mention these victims' names. It's actually amazing to me how the left is carrying their water while children are dying, while mothers are dying, while Americans are dying and being killed by people that have no business being in this country.
This is the choice. I really wonder if you're a Democrat listening to this show. First of all, thank you, because that tells me that you are not a hard partisan, not a zealot, not somebody who's sequestered in your own silo, but you're willing to actually listen to a different viewpoint than you may be inclined to embrace. But if you are a Democrat, if you are a Joe Biden voter, I would really like to know what goes through your mind when you see these stories pile up day after day after day. 13-year-old raped at the point of a machete in New York. 12-year-old girl in Houston, Texas, strangled, raped, murdered. 37-year-old mom of 5 walking on the path in a nature preserve. Stalked, grabbed, raped, murdered by an illegal alien. Laken Riley, college student, on the cusp of starting her life to help others, raped, murdered. What goes through your mind? And then what kind of equation do you factor that ends up with you still voting for Joe Biden?
Law firm. Everyone knows the old saying, nothing lasts forever. Well, whoever said that obviously never bought a timeshare. Not only do your maintenance fees and assessment fees go on forever, they go up forever. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Over 10 years ago, I was a timeshare salesman. But once I saw the dark side of the business, I quit. I started helping folks get out of the timeshare. Since then, we've helped over 30,000 families by getting them out of bad timeshare. If your timeshare agreement goes on forever, if you were told timeshares are a great investment, or your maintenance fees will never go up, you have questions, we have the answer. Give us a call. I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call Wesley now for your free information kit. 800-839-8484. That's 800-839-8484. 800-839-8484.
Find us at 989theanswer.com. Download our apps. Stream us 24/7. WTOH and WTOH HD1, Upper Arlington, Columbus.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. The Supreme Court has upheld a federal gun control law. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports.
The justices ruled 8-1 in favor of a 1994 ban that's intended to protect domestic violence victims. It's a reversal of a federal appeals court ruling which struck down the law. Under the law, people under restraining orders to stay away from their spouses or partners are not allowed to own firearms. Justice Clarence Thomas was the lone dissenter in the case. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Also at townhall.com, more than 1,000 firefighters taking advantage of the weather to get the upper hand on a pair of fires in New Mexico that have killed 2 people, destroyed hundreds of homes, and forced thousands to flee. President Biden issued a disaster declaration, freeing up funding and more resources as crews kept the flames from spreading. An estimated 1,400 structures have been destroyed or damaged. Authorities say it's still too early to let residents back into the community of Ruidoso. Millions of Americans still dealing with excessive heat from the Midwest to the East Coast.
Cody Ledbetter from the National Weather Service in Baltimore, Washington says the Mid-Atlantic is experiencing...
Hey, ask a question. You coming to our schools? 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 Schools? You coming to our schools? Hey, ask a question. You coming to our schools? 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 Don't touch you. You coming to my school?
You just grabbed the megaphone. Go across the street if you're going to be an agitator. Go across the street.
No, you support the West.
Go across the street if you want to support Israel.
You make a thing.
I'm speaking my megaphone all day long, homie.
You idiot.
You're not worth it. You're not worth it. You're not worth it. You're not worth it. You're not worth it.
My kids study here. They're coming to my school. They're coming to my school, to my kids' school.
I understand that they have a lot of right to protest. Just keep a cool mind, okay? Just keep it. It's really important.
Unbelievable.